Pixar Soul. I cried a good amount watching it. I've cried. I've almost cried since just thinking about it. Hey, welcome to the epilogue of episode 4 of Me and the Quest. Today we're talking Pixar's Soul. It made me cry like quite a bit, and I want to talk about why I think that is. A little bit of insight. This is partially a review of the movie. Surprise, it's really great. It's Pixar. It's like 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, I think. It's so good. I'm going to avoid any major spoilers. It might be, there's a couple things that are like maybe minorly spoilerly. As soon as we get into the epilogue, I start making words up. So if you haven't seen it yet and you really want to go into it fresh, you can come back and watch this later. But yeah, I want to talk about Soul. I want to talk about why I think it made me cry, why it resonated so much with me. As a way to talk about the movie that I really loved, but also as a way to, for you who, if you are a part of the show regularly, I want the epilogues to be a place where you can really start to get to know me a little bit more too. So, also I'm trying to find a way to visually represent that, like, hey, this is more casual. The show's over. So I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to move the camera over here. Here we go. Just a different camera angle. Just try it out. I don't know. You can see my TV that's not on back there. Just something to say, hey, this isn't the main episode. I might ramble even more than normal. I might make up words. I might cry. I don't know. We're talking about Pixar Soul. I cried a good amount watching it. I've almost cried since just thinking about it and thinking about why it made me cry. Yesterday I was kind of like thinking about this while I was driving and like thinking about how I wanted to sum it up, and I started to get almost a little I went to turn the windshield wipers on and realized it was just my eyes. So, who knows what will happen here. So we watched, Soul came out on Christmas Day. We watched it. I don't remember if it was the next night or 2 nights later, but we watched it a couple nights later. And this is actually important. This is actually really important to why I got emotional to watch it. So this is not just useless backstory. This is actually important. We tried to watch it with, as a family, with my wife, Erin, and our almost 3-year-old son, Forrest. And he will watch, like, he loves Inside Out. Inside Out is a movie he will watch. He'll watch the whole thing. And so I thought, this one kind of had a similar vibe. Maybe he would really sit and watch it. And I kind of had this idea that we could, have this sort of idyllic, sweet family movie time. And that worked for like 25 minutes. And then we were back to playing and running around and, playing with the new Christmas toys and stuff. Understandable. He's 3 and he got a bunch of new toys. So, no hard feelings for us. But we actually ended up stopping the movie that first night at about 40 minutes in, and then went back and watched the rest the next morning. So let me talk about a few reasons why I think it really resonated with me. Number one, obviously the music connection. Being a musician myself, I just knew from the trailers, like, I'm going to really like this. I really loved the way they did music in Coco, which is another one of my favorite Pixar movies. And I just knew I would love it. Jazz piano is something people might not know about me, but jazz piano is my favorite instrument. I was actually I'm more of a guitar player, though I've been doing more and more kind of intentional training and self-taught, but getting better and focusing more and more on piano the last few years. But I love jazz piano, Thelonious Monk, Dave Brubeck, like lots of others. And so I just knew I would like the movie. I knew I would like the music and the way they handle art in general in Pixar. Like, I love Coco. I love Ratatouille. I just knew it. I knew I would like that. I didn't expect how much I would resonate with the main character's story arc, with Joe as the main character. It's not just that it's about music, though I obviously relate to that. It's it's the lessons he learns along the way are lessons I have to keep reminding myself of all the time. And being reminded of it as he is in the movie is why I started crying at the end. And I don't want to go into that too much because I don't want to get too spoilerly. I can't say it. What? Spoilery. There we go. But yeah, I think that's part of why I just loved it so much, was some real specific things about the way he's living, sort of his character transformation is something that I'm kind of always in process on and trying to work on. So that really resonated. And then also like, I'm not going to spend much time on this, but I feel like I think about like tragically dying in a random way. Like in the movie, he falls in a manhole, an open manhole, right? Which isn't a spoiler. That's in the trailer. And I don't know. I think there's probably something there about like when you read about my generation, and like I'm right in the middle, like I'm a millennial through and through. And like what 9/11 and that experience, not to get too heavy and psychological, but there's probably something there about at a really formative time, kind of learning that at any moment things can change. And then I think just personality, temperament, like I'm an Enneagram 4. Everything you read about Enneagram 4s tend toward the melancholy, tend toward the sort of tragic. So maybe it's just a combination of that. I feel like more than a normal person, I think about my mortality. So, the plot of this movie really, really works for me. So the 3 reasons I think I got really weepy, like I'm not talking about like a little bit of mist, like when you watch like a sweet commercial. I'm talking about like tears, like down both cheeks, and like kind of doing this and like trying to like hold it in. Number 1, and this is the big one, and this is something that you can like. This is where I got emotional even thinking about it in the car. But we've been trying to watch this movie. I had this idea of how it was going to go as our family. Like I was hoping that we could all kind of sit together and watch it, talk to Forrest about it. Like, oh, look what's happening. And he'd be excited. Instead, it was just kind of a hassle. Like we kept pausing it. Like I said, we watched it over 2 different days. And we kind of got to a point where like Aaron and I were just trying to watch it fairly loud while he was like playing in the room. And frustrating might be too strong a word, but it just wasn't quite what I'd hoped. I wanted to kind of immerse myself in the story. I hoped he would like it. It just wasn't. And then at the big moment where I got emotional, it's kind of like one of the big climactic emotional moment of the movie. It just got to me that like, this is my life. This is my stage of life. And for most of the rest of my life, I'm going to wish occasionally when I look at a picture of Forrest at 3 years old, I'm going to wish I could go back and, my voice got a little shaky. I'm going to wish I could go back and, be in that moment again. Right. And be in that stage of life again. And, felt a little guilty about how I'd been kind of like, come on, man, like, come on, buddy, like, let's watch the movie, like, and this was, my life is happening, and this is it, and I should, live with a more sort of wide-eyed sense of wonder, and not try to force family movie night when it's not time for family movie night. So I got a little shaky there, but I think we got through that. That was the big one for me. It just was really hit me. And then I think when it really was like, oh boy, it's like, it's coming, was when like in that moment there, I'm trying to not give it much away, but there is a father-son element that happens in that big climactic moment. And when there's like a flashback to a father-son, forget about it. I'm out. Here it comes. I think I missed a little bit of what was happening there, because I was immersed in the waterworks. Since becoming a dad, like I get more emotional about that stuff, and especially being a dad to a boy. I think about me and my dad. I think about me and my son now. It's just stuff gets me. It gets me. And Pixar, no one does it like Pixar, so it really worked for me. It got me good. And then one additional element too is like just the artistic, the way that this movie handles. They use kind of different words for it, and I've only seen it once so far. And like I said, I was interrupted a lot, and I was crying a lot, so I'm sure I missed some things. But this idea of like the thin space between sort of this life and the next, these divine moments of creativity or whatever it is when you're in the flow, when you're doing that thing that you love, I thought the way they represented that in the movie was really really powerful. And there's a contrast that happens again. I'm hopefully this isn't giving much away, but the main character Joe finally gets this thing he's been chasing, and it kind of leaves him a little empty. And then he goes home and plays piano by himself, and that's where, as he's playing piano by himself in a dark room, thinking about these experiences he's had, playing with his eyes closed, just for no audience, just for his own sake. That's when this moment happens, this sort of divine, otherworldly moment happens. And I can just really relate to that. Like when I think about why I have compulsions toward music and creativity, it's because there's nothing better than getting in that space. And most of the time it does happen when I'm alone. I've definitely had those special moments like on stage playing music or something, but most of the time it's doing it alone, at night, and just playing music for its own sake and getting lost in it. I think they just did a really great job. Pixar, I mean, I would say maybe slightly above average, or probably above average Pixar person. Everyone likes Pixar. And sort of the worst you can say about Pixar is like some people might say it's overrated or they don't get it. Whatever. Those people are dead to me, but just kidding. I'm not like a person who I'm not like top level Pixar. I'm sure there are people who can like rattle off the order every movie came out and like tell you the release dates and like all these facts. I'm not that level, but man, this is just another great one. So if you haven't seen Soul yet, please go do it. It's on Disney Plus. If you don't have Disney Plus, why not? It's where it's at, man. Okay. So you haven't seen it already, go watch Soul. It'll inspire you, make you laugh. It's pretty funny, clever, and classic Pixar where it's, I think if you have kids, they'll like all the colors and funny characters and all that. And meanwhile, Daddy's over there weeping on the sofa. All right, so this has been the epilogue. This is, like I said, the casual conversation. If you're watching on YouTube and you just kind of found this video, you can check out the main episode. It'll be popping up on the screen somewhere. And then otherwise, new episodes of Me and the Quest every Wednesday on YouTube and on wherever you listen to podcasts. We will see you next Wednesday, all right? Peace.